So do you agree with 14 SEC teams? Was it that deep of a conference to you, Jay?
Yeah, I do. You could argue about Texas maybe a little bit, or maybe say, well, Arkansas had a couple of injuries or all that, but they played the most quality games and won the most quality games. And at the end of it, like, you kind of ask yourself, all right, some of these other teams that are complaining, or if they are complaining, would you want to play that schedule? How do you think you would have done against it? Because I don't think some of these teams would have done any better. It's ridiculous how good that league was. And it's the best league relative to the field, top to bottom, I've ever seen. Like, South Carolina and LSU didn't make the field. They had 14 out of 16 teams make it. South Carolina may be the best last place team I've ever seen in basketball. They're good. They beat Clemson earlier this year. They're 10-3 going into conference play, and they have one of the best players in the country in Colin Murray Boyles, and they found it really difficult to win a game in that league. It's really stacked.
So you describe the SEC as the best, or South Carolina is the best, I guess. Would you refer to them last place team coming in?
They're the best last place team I've ever seen.
Okay, so then how would you term UConn, the two-time defending champs, as a properly seeded 8th seed or the most dangerous 8th seed you've seen?
Well, I don't know that I call them the most dangerous 8th seed I've seen. UConn's good. I mean, they're good. They're really good offensively. They just struggle to defend. And that's the difference in their team from one year to the next, is they can score, but they have a hard time stopping people. And last year they had Donovan Clingan at the rim, and they had Stephon Castle that they could put on any wing player, and he could shut him down. And Tristan Newton at the point had length and athleticism. I mean, they were locked in defensively. They were top 5 defensively and top 5 offensively. And, last 2 years, they did things that nobody's ever done. They won all their tournament games by double digits. They were legit. I don't think anybody would argue that UConn is in the same ballpark as they were last year. And that's not a negative on this year's team. It's just how good last year and the year before were. But I've seen better 8 seeds than UConn, but they're very good. And I think they can, they can make it difficult on a 1 seed. And having that championship pedigree for some of those players, or for some of the teams they face, is going to be concerning. But they got a tough first game with Oklahoma. That's not a layup.
Yeah, and then Florida would be the next. That Florida would be the 1 seed that UConn would face. So more likely than not, we don't see another UConn run that nobody saw coming, is what you're saying, Jay.
I think Florida's the best team. I've watched them all year long. They've gotten nothing but gotten better, and they have size, and they've got like 5 big guys that they can rotate. They've got 5 guards they can rotate. It's absurd how big and talented and skilled they are. And their biggest change is last year they didn't defend at this level. They were in the 90s in the metrics defensively and the defensive efficiency. This year they're top 10. And look at the teams they've been beating. They're legit. Now, I'm not saying that Duke is not right with them, or Auburn is not right with them, or Houston's not right with them. I think the 4 number 1 seeds are really, really strong. Doesn't mean one of them's not going to get picked off or all that, but Florida, I think, is the strongest of the 1 seeds right now.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.